Taoiseach, since January, the members of the National Ambulance Association have been taking strike action over a number of 6 days in order to achieve recognition of their union. They are members of the single biggest union within their sector. Other unions have members, but they don't have as much as NASRA. They're here today because they're taking part in a day of protest to demand that this government talk to them, give them recognition that they deserve. The Constitution gives them the right to join a trade union, but it doesn't mean that it can force a government like Fine Gael, an anti-worker government, to recognise the rights of these workers. So we're calling on you, the HSE and the government, to talk to the only sector in this dispute that you haven't talked to. You've talked to other unions, you've talked to the HSE, but you haven't talked to the men and women who are here today on protest. And I'm further calling on the unions that exist in the ICTU in that sector to give their sisters and brothers the right to join the union of their choice.
Right, you,
in the 21st century, that's the least you could grant Irish workers, the right to join the union of their choice and to be recognised for doing so.
Now, there are a number of deputies offering on the same matter. Will you please stick to the time allocated? Deputy Murphy.
For the second time, while the paramedics pack the gallery, the Taoiseach is not here. This time he chose not to be here by leaving the minute he heard what the question was about. Why does the Taoiseach continue, and his government and Minister Harris continue to play hardball with these workers? Why do they continue to endorse the union-busting tactics of the HSE? Why do they continue to refuse to discuss with the PNA and NASRA? Why won't they deal with them? What are you so scared of in terms of workers being allowed to be represented by the union of their choice? It's a very serious situation for every trade unionist in this country when you have the state effectively trying to dictate to workers what unions they can be a part of and what unions they can't be a part of. And that's the refrain that we get. They'll be out there today at 1 o'clock and their banners will be saying, "Our union, our choice," and the government should deal with them instead of forcing them to come back here again and again.
Deputy Patrick Gallagher.
I also want to raise the issue of the ongoing one-day strikes by the ambulance personnel, and I understand that there may be another one-day strike by the end of May. This dispute, as all of us as politicians will know, it seriously affects the provision of frontline emergency services. This is unprecedented, and also it's unwarranted. They simply want to establish a branch of the PNA, and they've been asking for this for 9 years. They want to be represented by the PNA, and they don't want to be represented by a union that's acceptable to the HSE. They're demonstrating, as other members have said in Dublin today, these people don't want to be here. We met them this morning. They're here from all parts, including Donegal. They want to be on duty. They want to provide the essential services. They want to do what they're good at. And I'm asking the Minister to use his good offices to ensure that they can be considered.
Deputy Bruin. Deputy Pringle.
Thank you, Ken Corlin. It's just on the same issue as well. I think it's vitally important that the Minister would meet with the ambulance crew, and it is true that they don't want to be here, and they want to be at work, and they want to be serving the people of the country, which is what they want to do. And I would ask the Minister also if he would correct the record of the House. In reply to a parliamentary question, he said that he hadn't received any correspondence from a number of members of the Dáil here in relation to meeting with the NASRA organisation, and that's not actually correct. He has received correspondence given to him by Deputy Joan Collins, signed by myself and Deputy Patrick Gallagher and a number of other members, and I would ask that you correct the record of the House in relation to that as well.
Pierce Doherty.
And Corlia, Minister, it's an absolute disgrace that we're again having to take to our feet to ask for this very simple demand. There are many, many burning issues across the state, and this shouldn't be one of them. This is about a group of workers, over nearly 500 workers, who are asking the right to be heard. It's not a pay dispute, it's not a dispute about conditions, it's about the simple right to be heard. Sinn Féin have published legislation on this very matter. And Minister, you know as well as I know the work that these individuals do, the seriousness in which they take about out their duties. The effect that it has on them sometimes when unfortunately they can't save a life, and I've seen that at first hand. I've witnessed that at the diligence and the professionalism that they take to their job. This is about giving them the right to be heard, giving them the right to choose the trade union that wants to represent them in negotiations with the HSE. Minister, do not make us come to this chamber again. Do not force paramedics to take a day of strike. Do not force this issue any further. Stand up here today and do the right thing and state very clearly that those paramedics who are valued by all of us here, who when we need them at our time of need, will be valued in allowing them to decide which union that they should represent them in negotiations with their employer.
Please.
I'm sure you'll accept that the Taoiseach didn't scarper away when Deputy Murphy or Deputy Smith raised a question. Instead, he's gone to Paris to attend a very important seminar on online hate speech after the terrorist attack which killed 51 people in New Zealand, and that's been well documented. So, presuming you're against hate speech, Deputy Murphy, I'm sure you'll apologise for the slur to the Taoiseach. Certainly, Deputy Pringle did receive a letter from Deputy Joan Collins, and so if a written PQ said anything else, I'll write to the County Court on that matter. I did indeed receive directly into my hand a letter from Deputy Collins and a number of other deputies, including yourself, in relation to this matter, so I'm absolutely happy to acknowledge that. I understand that this is something that there's many different views on within the ambulance service. There's many different views amongst paramedics working in the ambulance service, and there's many different views within the union movement in relation to this matter. I had asked my department to engage with the HSE to try and find a way forward. I'd like a way to be found forward in relation to this. I'll certainly re-engage with my department and have discussions with the HSE in relation to this today.
Minister, Deputy Michael Collins.